At the same time that Trump ordered the seizure of the Venezuelan anchor, U.S. media broke another bombshell. According to the latest report from the Wall Street Journal, U.S. officials revealed that the U.S. military intercepted a cargo ship sailing from China to Iran in the Indian Ocean last month and seized a large batch of military-related goods. U.S. media stated that the interception took place in international waters away from Sri Lanka. The U.S. military dispatched special forces to stop the ship, boarded it for inspection, and after confiscating the military-related goods, allowed the ship to continue its voyage. U.S. media claimed this was the first time in recent years that the U.S. military had intercepted and confiscated goods of Chinese origin bound for Iran. Notably, U.S. media said the name and nationality of the ship could not be determined at present. The U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, which was in charge of the interception, declined to comment, and Iran's Ministry of Foreign Affairs also remained silent. Sources indicated that the goods Iran purchased from China this time might be sodium perchlorate, a widely used industrial raw material that can be used to produce ammonium nitrate, which is the main component of solid fuel for missiles. However, the sale of sodium perchlorate does not violate international law, or the so-called Western sanctions. U.S. media reported that after the end of its conflict with Israel, Iran has begun to purchase large quantities of sodium perchlorate after years of hiatus. It is likely to mass-produce ballistic missiles to rebuild its missile forces, which were severely damaged by Israel. It is learned that the U.S. military has closely tracked the transportation of this batch of goods from the very beginning. After confiscating the goods, the U.S. military has completely destroyed all of them. It must be emphasized that the authenticity of this incident cannot be confirmed at present. If the U.S. media reports are indeed true, it will undoubtedly be a dangerous signal for Iran, meaning that Trump is prepared to take more aggressive suppression actions against Iran. Prior to this, although the U.S. has intercepted Iranian ships on multiple occasions, such actions were mainly focused on illegal oil sales and arms smuggling. Seizing dual-use goods for military and civilian purposes purchased by Iran from China is the first time this has happened. This shows that the U.S. sanctions and containment against Iran have further escalated. Once this dangerous precedent is set, normal trade between Iran and other countries may face unpredictable risks in the future. Military analysts point out that although U.S. media emphasize that the identity of the ship intercepted by the U.S. military cannot be determined, various signs indicate that it is most likely an Iranian ship. This is also consistent with Iran's previous practice when importing similar goods from China. Moreover, most importantly, if the U.S. military intercepts a Chinese ship on the high seas and seizes its cargo, it will be a more provocative move than the Yanhee incident back then and will inevitably trigger a strong counterattack from China. However, China has not made a statement on this incident this time, and the reason is not hard to guess. This incident involves a purely commercial transaction that does not violate international law. After the cargo is delivered, China has no further connection with it. Even if the cargo is seized, it is a matter between Iran and the U.S. This can also be seen from the location of the U.S. military's interception. The reason why it chose the vast waters of the Indian Ocean instead of taking action when the ship had just left a Chinese port is obviously to avoid sending the wrong signal to China so as not to affect the overall situation of China minus U.S. diplomacy. But even if this incident has little to do with China, it still sounds an alarm for China. Regarding the Yanhee incident that occurred in the 1992, China's military strength was still insufficient at that time, and it was unable to effectively safeguard its interests thousands of miles away. But now the situation is completely different. The Chinese People's Liberation Army has sufficient strength to safeguard China's sovereignty and interests around the world. There are even permanent Chinese naval task forces in the Indian Ocean to combat piracy and maintain maritime security. If the U.S. military is really foolish enough to take action against Chinese ships, then you and I may no longer have to worry about survival issues.